This video is going to show you some connections between earth science and art. If you're an art teacher looking to make more core connections, this video is for you. If you are an earth science teacher and looking to incorporate a little bit of art into your practice, I would definitely recommend that you connect with your art teacher because they're going to be your media specialists and STEAM experts in your building. So here we have what's called an altered book. We take old books from the library that are going to be recycled or thrown away, chunk the pages together so we can have 5 to 7 different sections. And you can have some different kinds of concepts from earth science in the books for the students to kind of illustrate. So you could do biomes and have, tundra, desert, all those kinds of things in there, and have the students decorate, write, paint, draw, and embellish these books. So it's a fun way to kind of break things down. If you need to show off 5 to 7 different things, the altered book is a great way to kind of explore that. Here's another one I've done with my students where they create architecture that fits in a biome. So this one is supposed to fit in a forest. So the idea of the trunk of the trees is echoed within the building. And then there's these different layers that represent leaves, and they're terraces that students could interact with the outside world if this was a real place. So that can be kind of a fun exploration of making the architecture fit the different environment and taking into account what does that environment look like, what do the people who live in the building need to be protected from. So this can be a fun way to kind of create that and explore that. And then I always have students do a little bit of writing afterwards to explain why did they choose these particular forms and how do they function within that environment. Here's another one where we take old shoes, paint them white with some flat white spray paint, and then we go ahead and draw and paint on those so we can show different concepts of Earth. Again, exploring biomes, but there are certainly other concepts that can be done on the shoe. If there are certain concepts you want everyone to kind of understand, you can break them down, put them in a hat, and then have each student kind of pick. And then these can be laid out in a display to kind of show how you're artistically handling that topic in your school. Here we have a virtual museum or a little box museum. So we can take this and think about an earth science museum, an exhibition. So the students are creating the exhibition. They're doing a little writing on the side. I have them put a 1, 2, 3, and 4 next to the images. And then there's a little piece of paper with some writing on it that coordinates with the display. So we understand what it is that their museum is trying to show off. What concept are we trying to share? Clay is a wonderful way to kind of explore earth science and what is going into the clay, what makes it clay, what makes it plastic, thinking about the porousness of it and the different kinds of clay and where they're found and deposited, from your porcelains to your heavy body grog clays and different things like that. So tie up with your art teacher and kind of figure out how you can make earth science and ceramics sort of connect. And there are going to be lots of great ways to incorporate that in your class. This one I call an unfolding project. So it's 9 boxes that are folded or unfolded to display a concept. So if something can be broken down into 9 steps, this is a fun way to do it. That is kind of like animation, but really it's the animated unfolding of the project to kind of show it. Here you can see one in action. So this is kind of fun and the kids really get into it. I have a link in the description to show you more about how you can do this for your own students. Leaf printing is a great way to kind of look at the different parts of a leaf, label those, the different parts, the cells, the veins, all of that. And leaf printing can be a lot of fun in the lower elementary level. Here we have a project I call Not a Cup. So we talk about recycling and they have to take the cup, disassemble it, reassemble it, and make it into something else. So something that is not a cup and hopefully something that is functional and could potentially have a purpose. So they're thinking about the ideas of recycling and repurposing materials. Here we have a comic book cover. So the idea is here I'm showing a logo, title, subtitle, and a main action. So if there's something in earth science you want the students to really focus on, they could create a comic book cover of that particular concept. Maybe it's, tectonic plates moving around, or it's the lava coming out of a volcano. That could be kind of a dramatic action, and then turning that into a comic book cover, and then, of course, having some writing that goes along with it. Another thing I have here is a killer whale out in the sea. We can have some fun kind of talking about animals and the environments that they live in. So we have a pattern in the background that's related to the animal, and it's a fun little watercolor exploration that you can do. Here's another one where we have the decaying of a flower. So I have students draw it each day and how it decays and browns and shrivels. And so each day we kind of add another drawing to it. We cut these all apart and then show the different stages of decay. But you could do the same thing for things as they, emerge. So sometimes I've had students go outside and tie a colored ribbon onto a branch of a tree, and we go out in the fall and show how they decay and wither, and then the spring we'll go back again and explore how they bud and emerge and grow. So those can be kind of fun explorations to do. Here I have interview with a dead artist, but you could certainly do interview with a dead scientist. By doing that, students have to write in the first person, which then avoids a lot of the issues that we've seen with plagiarism. So you could put scientists or concepts into a hat and then have students write it up as an interview. So it'd be interesting to do a Charles Darwin interview. He's dead, but let's pretend that he's risen from the dead and he's now a zombie, and writing that report in the first person could be really interesting. This one is great for showing before and after. So we have a lenticular done here. So it's two images merged into one. One image is on the right-hand side of the accordion folds. The other one is on the left-hand side of the accordion folds. And as you walk down the hallway, you'll see one image and then it'll disappear and merge into another one as you pass by. So any concept that has a before and after, this is a great way to kind of illustrate that. Another one here is I have this 6-step change. I do it in my art class with lollipops. The students will draw it first whole and then, lick on it a little bit, make another drawing, and we keep going until we're down to the stick. So anything that's going to show change over time, and if you can kind of witness it in one particular image, that can be a helpful thing for them to see this change over time. It's very hard for students to understand this idea that things change over time, but when they're drawing it and witnessing it, then sometimes it sort of hits home. This other one is treasure maps, and that can be kind of a fun way to explore cartography with our students. It can be a real place, but I often have my students imagine a place and they have to incorporate a certain number of land features. They need to have 5 land features. They need to have a decorative rose compass. They need to have a key. Then they create a decorative border. And I will pull out some old examples of maps printed off from the internet. Something from the 14, 15, and 1600s can be really decorative and amusing to kind of look at, and then students create their own. And then they can sometimes name the island after themselves if they would like. Here I've re-explored it with plaster, so we can do that in 3D. And here's another one that shows an area nearby their home. So we have a highway and some fields next to it. Another fun one are these animals here. So we've got a cutaway, and we can see in the belly of the turtle here, it's got junk food inside because they're eating garbage out into the ocean, and that's killing the animals. So we can explore that, or another one with a hummingbird here, and there's the cutaway, and we can see how the insides of the animal can kind of operate. This last one is a character leading us through a comic strip. So we have the character here, and this one is kind of describing how the universe is born, but you can have a character describing some earth science concept that you want your students to learn, and then they can go ahead and illustrate it, and it becomes a little bit more real for them. The other thing that I would recommend is if you're doing more geography and exploring the globe, I have a book called If Picasso Went on Vacation. So we explore different locations all around the world through art. So let's say, here we have M.C. Escher in the style, and we're doing Stonehenge. And the poem here teaches about M.C. Escher, but also about Stonehenge. Students can see where it is located. And the last 3 lines of the poem teach students how to say yes, no, and hello in the indigenous language. Here's another one of Andre Derain and doing the pyramids. So we get to see where are the pyramids. They're in Egypt. We learn a little bit about Andre Derain. We learn a bit about the pyramids in the last 3 lines. tell us how to say yes, no, and hello in Arabic. So it's kind of a fun way to explore the world if that is something that would be desirable. We have these at firehousepublications.com, where you can even order a class set if you want at an extremely low rate. So if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe, and check out some of the other videos in this playlist to see how you can make core connections to the arts. Thank you.